Hi, everyone. Welcome to our spiritual sojourn. Thank you for joining us today. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Lori.
What's up?
Oh, it's nice to see you. Wondering what you might bring to us today in terms of a great message or something educational.
Yeah, thanks. Spirit has been working with me over the last, I don't know, forever it feels like. And one of the things they have me focusing on right now is being present as much as I possibly humanly can in my heart space, connecting with my soul self, my higher self, and living in that place of divine love. And as a result of that, what I'm coming to realize and what keeps being said over and over is ultimately, we're all one. We're all aspects of source. So that means there's really no separation. There's no us and them. There's only us. We are these beings that are all part of source. And it's important to remember that, especially now in these times, and live from that place of divine love. And that's why they have me constantly recentering into my heart space, holding that energy of love, that divine love that lives there, and projecting that outward. And holding that space no matter what else is going on, even in situations that generally annoy me one way or another, or that I tend to take personally, if I can respond from a place of divine love and balance, then I can calm down the situation and I don't have to engage in whatever's going on. I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and she was starting to complain about some of the political things that are happening. And normally I get caught up in that and get going with her. And what I realized later was I was able to stay centered and always respond with, well, I'm just staying in my heart space and holding love and sending that out to that situation and to all the people involved and holding that space for everyone. And it really shifted our conversation then away from those topics. And we had a much better conversation overall as a result of that. So, also, I'm finding just sending out that divine love into the just out to everybody all the time keeps me calm and keeps me centered, and also um, helps me connect more with people where they are and who they are without feeling that us and me kind of thing, or taking things too personally, which I have a tendency to do. That, oh, they're doing this to me. They're just annoying me on purpose, which isn't the truth. They're being who they are, and I don't need to be annoyed by that. When I can see them as a divine being that's not separate from me, then I can send that love to them. Some days are better than others. I have to admit, we're humans still.
Yep.
I'm going to have those moments when I am going to be annoyed. Uh, and hopefully those get fewer and fewer. I feel like we're being called as human beings on this planet to keep raising our consciousness, connecting more and more with our true selves so that we can all begin and continue to raise our consciousness to move into those higher dimensions. And that part of that requires us to stop seeing things as us and them, black and white. We have to start really experiencing everyone and everything as all one big loving energy that's kind of separated to experience itself, but still very much one.
Mm. What advice do you and your guides have for us when you run into one of those situations where it's a naturally us and them situation? It's your instinct, it's your gut reaction, us and them. I'm going to conflict with this person. What is the advice for how to handle that situation?
Here's my goal, and at times I've done it, is to really take a deep breath and bring my consciousness into my heart space. Just drop down into heart, feel that light, feel that soul self living there and that divine energy, and let it just fill me up and let it move outward so that it begins to fill the whole space around whatever the situation is, and just send it out to wherever it needs to go. I think for me, it's learning how to not react because I tend to react to things pretty quickly. If I can take a moment, and what I've noticed is when I can stop for a second, take a deep breath, and just wait a second, be still, then I have the ability to drop into that space and respond in a different way. Does that make sense? It's like I'm trying to respond more than react.
Okay, so I can be a little bit hard-headed. So teach me how to drop into the heart space because I don't really know what that means.
Okay. So I'm trying to think about how I do that. It's one of those things, once you do it kind of all the time, it's hard to explain. Um, so I imagine in my mind, I will imagine that I can kind of see myself moving into my heart chakra, if you will, into my heart, and it's full of light. And so I imagine seeing that light in my heart right here in the middle of my chest. And I just put myself there into that space and I allow that light, again, it's partly using imagination, and I just allow that light to fill me completely so that I can see that light moving up into my head, all the way through me, out my fingers, out my toes, filling me completely. And then I see that light moving out from me, like filling the space that I'm in right now, and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And as I'm doing that, I begin to feel that intense love, that divine light, that intense love from the divine. That's where it lives. And holding that feeling because it's an incredible feeling of peace and intense gratitude when I'm really stepping into it and allowing it.
Okay.
Does that help?
It does help a little bit. I don't know how exactly I'll approach it the first time that I try and actually do that. And it sounds like maybe the biggest part might be just starting with a visualization. Um,
Right. And use your imagination. We always act as if imagination is somehow bad, and it's not. That's where everything evolves from. That's how we create is through imagination.
mhm,
So when you start with that and just visualize and imagine the best you can, and then also see that light over time moving out beyond you and your space to filling the whole earth itself, or sending it to a specific person or group, whatever the situation is. Then you begin to see that and you begin to feel that connection. The other piece of this that's happening for me as I'm doing this is this incredible sense of gratitude, which then also leads to this intense joy. And joy is very different than happiness. Happiness is external for me. Things around me make me happy. Joy is always within us and lives there. And joy has nothing to do with whatever our circumstances are. We can be in the worst possible situation and still connect with joy internally. And when I'm feeling grateful, the joy just naturally bubbles up.
mhm.
And so, as part of this, allowing that divine energy to guide me and to go outward to others and see myself as connected to everyone and everything, I'm not separate, then really stepping into that gratitude for that. And gratitude then for everything that I have in my life that's, you know, even in bad situations, I'm still grateful for that because it's helping me to see myself more clearly and to see what needs to be let go of, perhaps, or changed, or forgiven, released in some way.
Mhm.
So I'm starting to notice this amazing sense of gratitude and joy then each day. Yesterday, I was out driving and I was noticing this quality around me. I was looking at the trees as I was driving. Everything was sparkly in that moment. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like there was a shimmer to the trees and the leaves, which were beautiful. And I was so grateful for that. And what hit me was is that that's all part of the divine. And so it was in that moment I was seeing it from that place of source and that love. It was an incredible feeling of intense gratitude and joy all at the same time. I don't get that every day. I
Yeah.
was just grateful for that moment that I had. It was like, wow, this is intense and incredibly beautiful. And I just appreciated it in that moment.
That's wonderful, to be able to do that. What advice do you and your guides have for people that are having a hard time generating gratitude? Right now, there are people facing very tough life decisions,
Mhm.
and gratitude's not at the top of the vocabulary in that.
I've been there. I understand that completely. And what I found in those moments when I could stop feeling sorry for myself, being worried, caught up in fear, and just simply move internally again and start just asking myself, what am I grateful for right now? What am I grateful for tonight? Um, and I could start naming a few things, like I'm grateful I have air to breathe. I'm grateful I had supper, whatever. It can be very small, gratitude that you made it through the day. Um, so start there, start where you are, whatever you have. Maybe, I'm grateful that my car still runs and I can get to where I need to be. I can get to work, whatever, start there. And then each night at the end of the day, begin to list the things that you were grateful for that day. What happened in my life, that I'm grateful for, no matter how small or how big. Um, it's hard to be grateful for the hard things in our life, um, the fear that we have to navigate, the not having enough money, the whatever it is. And if you can also find a way to feel some gratitude toward that for what it's showing you, what it's helping you to learn, how you're navigating it in that moment. Be grateful that you're not in jail because you did something illegal. Be grateful that you're not in the mental institution because you went
Well,
crazy.
that's one right there.
Well, and honestly, in my past, that was one of my gratitudes at the end of each day was I made it through the day without being hospitalized, because there were days when I wasn't sure. It was hard. And so finding the gratitude that you can find, no matter how small, and focus on that. It shifts things. It will shift things over time. And it certainly has shifted things for me. And I don't do it all the time. Honestly, I'm still in process. I'm trying to be more cognizant of that and be grateful every day. And some days I don't think about it. It's not that I'm not grateful. I just don't consciously list it for myself.
Yeah. Well, first a quick editorial and then a follow-up question. My editorial is there are a lot of people out there that should be grateful and have gratitude that you kept them out of the hospital that day. So I would just like to say that quite sincerely. And
Thank you.
then the follow-up question is, um, regarding gratitude, what if I don't wanna? How do you get a person motivated who is, and it's yourself in many cases, who's in the gutter emotionally and just doesn't want to feel gratitude? And it seems to be a necessary component here, but I don't wanna. What if I don't wanna?
That's your choice. You don't have to. No. You do not have to have gratitude. Um, I think, and again, I've been there. It's like screw gratitude. What have I got grateful? What have I had? What do I have to be grateful about?
Right, right.
Um, and I had to get to a point where the way I was experiencing myself and the world around me and my life was no longer tolerable. It was like I was miserable. And I had to get to a point, alcoholics would call it hitting bottom, basically.
Mhm.
You know, I'm tired and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, basically. And that's when, you know, when you're kind of on your knees going, I can't do this anymore, that's when you can drop into that sense of gratitude, connect with divine, connect with source, God, whatever your languaging is, and ask for that grace to help you get to that place of feeling gratitude and start focusing on that.
Yeah, I suppose you could word that also in a way. If you want to dig yourself out, figure out how to get that as your first step.
Yeah. And it can take a while. And we're allowed to, because we have free will, we're allowed to wallow as long as we want to in our misery. And I've certainly taken advantage of that in my life.
Right.
You know, so we all we all get there, I think, and we get to the place that is highest and best good for us at the exact right moment when we're ready.
I think everybody has been to that place. It's
Absolutely.
it's got to be a necessary part of the human experience so that you feel all of the range of things that there are. And when
Right.
you're down at the bottom, I suppose the motivation is just that's my way out.
Right. It's like at that point for me, it was like, well, there's nowhere else to go but up at this point. And how do I do that? And that's when I had to literally let go of mind and ego trying to run the show and keep me, you know, on my knees basically, and ask for higher intervention. And I did. And then that's what began to pull me out.
Okay. Well, that all is really a difficult charter for many of us to do that. And so finding gratitude in these times or when you are at rock bottom, um, if that's the first step toward all of this, then I think that we all have to practice that. I'm not good at it. I have to tell you that right off the bat. Sometimes I just ignore it and don't. And so for all of us that do that, maybe it's a spiritual realignment that you're going to have to go through if you want to get yourself out of.
And I think we all get there in our own way, in our own time. That's just how it is. And sometimes we slip back and we let go of gratitude and forget to be grateful. You know, and there are sometimes moments where all I could be grateful about was that I woke up that day. And even that was tenuous. I'm not sure I was grateful for that
some,
necessarily every day
some
or
days.
not.
Some days.
Yeah. So you start small.
Well, that has got to be the key to it. And so, okay, well, what other surrounding ideas and concepts do you and your guides want to give to the rest of us on that?
The key point to really hold on to, besides gratitude, which is also very important, is to remember that we are all divine beings. You know, we're walking around in this human body with these minds and egos. That's not who we are, really. It's who we are right this moment in terms of the physical world. Who we are truly is this incredible divine being that's always connected to God, to Source, and can pull in that divine love at any time, any moment, because we are that. We are nothing but love. And that truly love is the strongest force and love creates everything. And that's really all there is. If we can start remembering that for ourselves and starting to live more from that place of love, then it makes that next step of seeing everybody else as the same and that we are all connected. Gives me more compassion than, for the person, next to me, or for the person who doesn't live the way I do. Just have compassion for everyone, because if I'm having it for myself, then, and we're all connected, then I have it for everyone else.
Yeah, for the analogy that I have often heard is we are all drops of water in the ocean.
Mhm.
And you can't have the ocean without all the drops of water. And
Exactly.
they're all connected one way or the other.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I might say jokingly, some drops of water are in a fine wine and some are running down the gutter. But
That may be true, but it's all ultimately the same. Yes.
okay. Anything else from your guides today?
I don't think so. They are, um, no,
Okay.
they are complete and feeling like, yes, if we can remember who we really are, that we're pieces of God, and stay in that place of gratitude and love for everyone around us, then we're doing great.
Yeah. It is a challenge.
It is a challenge. I don't debate that a bit. It is indeed. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you to you and your guides for that wonderful message. And difficult message as it may be, but something we all need to hear.
Mhm.
So if you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like or a subscribe. You can also give us your comments below in this video, and we will make sure answer your comments whenever you get one in there. We would also like to hear of future topics that you might like to have us address. And Lori and her guides and whatever I can contribute will be glad to address those issues. And lastly, if you need to get a hold of Lori and or Tom, you can get us at ourspiritualsojourn@gmail.com. And with that, thank you all very much.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Let me sit back. Get even with you. No, I should be way higher and bigger than you. Here, how
That's
about
right.
that? How about
Because you're better than me.
that? The theme for today is we're all equal, except for Tom.
Right. Who's better?
Okay.
Well, that was fun.